welcome back. Glad to see you all again. We're gonna wait for another like 30 seconds just to let people ready. Okay, I think we can start now. People keep coming. So welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our cohort called 8. So we have to go today, and today is very special because we're gonna have a guest speaker today. Let's talk about goal first. So we have two goals for today. The first one is to understand the important role of sustainability, and the second is to know the connection between empathy and sustainability. And let's go to the agenda for today. So today, as I mentioned earlier, it's very special. We're gonna have two guest speakers. Both of them are very cool, so you're gonna learn a lot today. So the first guest speaker gonna be Pushpa Singh, and the second guest speaker gonna be Mimi Myo Win. So we're gonna have guest speaker, we have Q&A and Kahoot game, and after that, we're gonna have advice from fellow. Then we're gonna announce who will be the fellow for your team, and we're gonna talk about next step. And the last one gonna be meeting with fellow. So today is gonna be a bit different because we don't have a workshop time later, but we're gonna let you spend more time with your fellow. So next, let me send to Stai to introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, Chen. So, I think Pushpa is already in our corner. So before we start our session, I would like to give a brief introduction about Pushpa. So Pushpa is a founder of GuideStar India, which is founded in 2009. GuideStar India is India's largest and most reliable NGO information repository and evaluator given through trust and transparency. She has established, GuideStar India as a friend of the NGO community, working with them to embrace transparency and enhance their capacity to access philanthropic resources, which more than 11,000 Indian nonprofits showcasing their work on GuideStar India and over 100,000 NGOs in its offline database. GuideStar India helps users find reliable NGOs or their choice and support research on civil society, such as the Doing Good Index, and also Pushpa launched in India Giving Tuesday in 2019. Giving Tuesday is a global giving movement to promote generosity through collaboration and innovation. So we really hope to learn a lot from the Pushpa today. So Pushpa, thank you so much for joining us today, and also the floor is yours. I believe Pushpa, you are on mute.
Sorry. Thanks everyone for inviting me, and thank you, Sue, for this, thinking that I would be someone who can contribute to this session. First of all, a big namaste from India, and a deep sense of respect to all of you young people, who are embracing this different path, the path that is not usually taken by people. It's a difficult one, given especially the circumstances in today's world. And I believe some of you are from, Myanmar and some from Thailand. And the situation is particularly difficult for some of you. So what I will be doing today is trying to share in the next 20 minutes or so some learnings from my experience on balancing, empathy and sustainability. I'm just going to show you one slide, and the rest of it I'm going to be speaking. And I'm mindful that English is not native to all of us, including me. So I will try and speak slowly and share only a few important concepts. And this is all my personal learning. And I hope you find some useful suggestions and tips in that. And my learning is also from observing other people. I come from a business meaning a business management background in the for-profit sector in the early part of my career. And then I switched to the not-for-profit sector. And I find that there are many similarities in terms of running a enterprise. It does not matter whether it is a social enterprise or a business enterprise, but some things that are common to a person who is going to, expand on their idea, pursue their idea, and have certain clear goals. I saw some of the concepts that you have already been learning or exposed to or discussing. So this is in a way kind of bringing many of these things together. So I'll just share my screen for a moment, and then I'll be back to talking to you. So you can see this, right? It's from a famous movie, but so it's literally a balancing act. And are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
So empathy versus sustainability is like continuously a balancing act. You have to, it's like you're on a beam and you have to keep finding your way and adjusting yourself. Sometimes you have to keep moving, right? Otherwise you have to move very carefully, not totally, then you would fall off, but you have to keep at it. And once you begin this journey, you need to stick to it and not kind of suddenly leave it, because then you're going to fall. Maybe there is a safety net. For some people, it's their family. For some people, it is going and doing other things. But my sincere request is to you to stick to your idea for at least 1,000 days. That is at least 3 years. And this is something I learned from a business community in a city where I grew up, Ahmedabad, in the state of Gujarat in India, where they say that any business, go with a leap of faith and stay at it for 1,000 days at least. Don't abandon, don't give up. So let me stop sharing my screen, and I have a few points I have noted down and try and look at that. So I would think that unlike the difference between a business and a social entrepreneur is that each one of us is driven by a passion that is born out of empathy, right? We feel for somebody's suffering. We feel that we are in somebody's shoes. We feel for the homeless. We feel, so when the rest of the world is celebrating festivals, we think of the people who are not able to celebrate. We think of the people who don't have a meal. We think of the people who cannot see, who cannot hear, right? So we have that empathy. We are already in their shoes. And because of this great ability to feel empathy, we get so overcharged, so driven by it, that we have a sense of what is the problem we are going to solve, the change that we want to make. And by now, most of you know that that change takes many, many years in some cases. That change is through many factors, situations beyond your control. So this empathy or this passion is the real force. That is the power that is driving you. But what happens is it is so overpowering and you feel it in your heart that sometimes the head is not able to think, and it is difficult to do that balance, right? So what happens is, if you don't think of sustainability, right, what could happen is you come across some exciting opportunity, and everyone is familiar with the marathon and running a sprint, the 100 meters race versus the long marathon, several rounds, 42 odd kilometers. So what happens is, with this drive and this passion, which is so high in you right now, you will tend to run very fast. You will see a few opportunities and you want to go very fast. And sometimes you're not able to think that the problem will not get solved in 1 year or in a few months or with one activity or one program or one campaign. So you have to prepare yourself for the marathon. The person who was balancing, he or she has to go from one building to the other, one end to the other. So if you try to burn yourself up, you will not be there to solve the problem, right? So sustainability is sustainability of your program, of your ability, even your personal ability. There's a lot of people in the pandemic, they're talking about the well-being of social leaders, because you have been so much overworking that you can burn out yourself. So sustainability is to stay the course to accomplish that end purpose, your vision, right? And so think of this always, the short term versus the attraction to complete fast vis-a-vis the problem is not going away soon. So you need to think of a few years of your life, right? I'm sure many of you may want to pursue other goals, other career options later, but at least dedicate 3 to 5 years of your life when you're looking at this, and make sure that you can sustain yourself and your program. So what happens is, when you need to strike this balance, what are some of the tools or tips that you can actually count on your fingers? The first, I would say, is a set of filters. So you know what's a filter, right? When you want to strain a liquid, or when you want to strain flour with which you make bread, you use a filter to sieve, right? So you need to create a filter, a very strong filter, to decide what you will do and not do, right? What will go through that filter? If you have a filter, what will go through that and you will do, and what you will not allow to go through. I hope I'm being understood. And what are these filters? They are your values, things you will not compromise, right? For example, you don't want to break honesty, being truthful to the recipients, the community you're serving. You want to keep them with you. So that may be something you don't want to create a filter of what I will do. So a filter will help you screen. It will let you do certain things, and it will not let you do certain things, right? So you need to create your own personal filter, your values that you will not compromise no matter what comes in front of you. So it will help you to decide which project to take. So sustainability, people will tell you, is making sure you have money to do the job, you have resources to do the job. But when you set out and you're still experimenting, you're still trying out, what is likely to happen is that there will be a lot of attractions that will come your way, not just problems. There will be somebody who will say, there are so many problems in the world and there are very few good leaders, right? So you will be completing this program and people will come and say, hey, I would like you to do this market research. Hey, I would like you to work in that community. I would like you to start, feeding the children. Maybe you are into mental well-being. So each time you have to decide whether your program is, what people are offering you is in line with your bigger objective that you're trying to do. So the ability to say no is very important. For example, when I started my work for GuideStar India, to aggregate, to map all the nonprofits in the country, there were sometimes people who came and say, why don't you use the same thing for businesses, social businesses, or those who are trying to do impact investing? And I had to say, no, I have limited resources. I want to first put people who don't have the capacity to present the work, right? I have one filter for my organization called being non-judgmental, meaning we accept everyone who is a not-for-profit, and we don't say we take only good not-for-profits. I don't know the definition of good, right? The moment I have to define good, I become judgmental. So that's a very strong filter that helps me from not doing some things. A whole lot of people tell me, why don't you become an online giving platform? Because you are online, you have NGOs, they need money. You're trying to say who are get good NGOs, you're presenting their work to donors. I said, no, that is a filter we have made, that we will never get into being a channel for money, because that's an area of expertise, and we want all those other platforms to use us as a base, and we don't want to be in competition with them, right? I have another filter that says anything that I do should be for the ultimate benefit of the sector. So there are sometimes I have to while making a decision, is it helping my organization, but it is hurting another organization? That's my value. So that's a filter. Excuse me. So for a moment, I just want you to think of your work, what you are planning to do, and put in the chat box one filter that you can think of, any one filter. I'll give you a few seconds. Anyone? What is one filter that you can think of? Being truthful and honest to yourself and communities. Great. Any other? Be open to participants regardless of financial need. Excellent. So with those examples, let me move on in the interest of time. So I said, create a filter that you are okay, eager to aid youth in your community to have a better life. So maybe if someone comes with the elders, you will see whether working with them will help the youth have a better life. Otherwise, you will not take that program. Okay. So far I said create filters that you will keep, without changing. It will be like a wall, right? But my next point is to be flexible, to be agile, and why do I say that? I'm contradicting. So remember that image of the balancing action, right? So when I was in business school, an expert or an industry leader came and said, you know what, you need to slowly get this wisdom on when to stand like a rock and when to flow like water. So when to stand like a rock and when to flow like water, like the river, right? When to stand like a mountain and when to flow like a river. And that stuck with me. So when each of you goes out with an idea, and I'm saying you stick to it for 1,000 days, don't make your idea rigid. Don't make your idea like a mountain, because when we are starting from the starting point, we don't know the full picture, right? We are taking a leap of faith, a jump, and we are saying that this is a problem I want to solve. I want to see the youth have a better life. But till you work with them, you cannot see everything. So you have to be a little flexible. So keep your filter intact. The river cannot completely change its course, right? But the river can flow within the banks, sometimes going a little wide, sometimes going a little narrow. Am I making sense? So be a little flexible. So I was reading this book on good to great, built to last, and good to great. I'll search out the links and send to you later. So, and I'll also try and put these points on a note and send it to you or a slide. So what happens is, if you're not flexible, that book says that businesses, ideas, and companies that are still surviving 100 years are those that are completely looking different from the first idea, right? And it gives many examples. So for example, when I started my not-for-profit to be non-judgmental, in America and in the UK, the information comes from the government tax data or the charities commission data to GuideStar. In India, we have to collect data from the non-profits, right? So the data is not completely reliable or truthful or completely ready. And there is a lot of suspicion and lack of trust in the non-profits. So my tagline keeps changing a bit. I started with the first place to look for NGOs. Today, my tagline says enabling greater giving through trust and transparency. So I have evolved in my messaging, but my mission was always to promote, transparency for greater giving. and I had different words. It said to promote, to enable philanthropy, to educate and equip NGOs, right? To drive more resources to them. So I have not moved away from my purpose, but I am being flexible. So what happened was, in India, when we just started the site with self-reported information, many of my users said, I can't be sure of this information. So we had to start certifying the organizations. But how do we certify without being judgmental? So we don't say so-and-so is good or bad, but we say we have verified this level, foundation level. We have verified, a much deeper level, and we have verified most of the things. So we give them, besides putting on the site, being completely non-judgmental. Then we say, this is a transparency key at foundation level. This is gold, this is platinum, and so on, right? But there are many gold organizations, many platinum. So not this one is best. And every parameter is objectively verifiable. You see? So I'm using my filter, but I'm being flexible in my implementation of my idea. I'm saying no to many temptations, and some small opportunities I'm picking up. So I have kept a filter for myself that I can try new ideas, I can try new programs, as long as they are less than 10% of my overall work in terms of revenues. And it should not be more than, say, 25-30% of the time that I spend, right? So maybe that 10% will change, that 25% will change after a lot of thought. But by putting that filter, I know that I cannot be completely going away from my core work, right? So these filters are very important. By being flexible is very important. And the other thing I want to say is that you need to keep learning. This is common to everybody, right? There are elders, they're 90 years old and they're still learning, right? So if we don't keep learning, like my mother passed away recently, but she was even learning some new idea even on the last day, right? So you have to reinvent, you have to keep learning. The world is changing fast, and we also need to grow as people to do better. So not just learning new skills, but being aware of other sectors, keeping our eyes and ears open, right? And always learning and looking for learning opportunities. That is one. And one more point, I know, Sue, we are running out of time, but I'll just take 2 minutes. I read a book saying, stay hungry, stay foolish. And I think these are words of the founder of Apple Computers, Steve Jobs. So stay hungry, right? And sorry to sound terrible to a foundation or a funding agency, but sometimes our funders make us lazy, right? If you get too much money and resources early in your work, you will forget to be hungry, and you will forget to be foolish. Foolish is keep trying new ideas. But if you don't have the hunger, that empathy will die, right? We are all countries that are still emerging, that have majority of our populations still not having 2 meals a day. And if we become very strong as organizations with lots of money, we will forget to feel that empathy. We will have fancy offices, we will travel globally, we will be talking to people very far from the ground, and we will think, oh, it's okay, for a person from a very well-to-do country to travel business class. In my country, we always think that that's not okay, how it is perceived, and also the amount of money that can feed so many people. So I'm saying that don't lose your empathy, stay hungry enough to continue to feel that empathy and that passion. Otherwise, you will not have that fire in the belly. So that's very important. And like Google Maps, keep trying various routes. So don't abandon your idea, but keep rerouting. You remember your goal, but keep rerouting, keep looking for better, faster paths, be aware of accidents, be aware of traffic jams, be aware of problems on the ground, and find your way through and don't lose sight of your goal. I think if we are all on a Google Maps mode, that will really help. So I'll stop here, add a few other points, but I can share them maybe as question and answers.
Thank you so much, Pushpa. So even for me, I learned a lot again today from you. So inspiring. Yeah, I got more energy from you, and also as same with me. And all of our fellow also got lots of learning point and also that inspiration from her. So now I would like to invite question Q&A question. So if you have a question for Pushpa, so you could ask 3 questions. So sorry for the limitation, we have a time limitation. That's why I'm gonna limit for 3 questions. So now you all can ask anything that you would like to know more about about Pushpa, or also sustainability or the empathy, you can ask anything.
Maybe I have one question that I would like to ask. Like, can you share a little bit experience about? I think when you start trying to do something new, it's quite difficult. In this case, it's quite currently like your organization is quite big. So I just would like to know your experience when you start working your business on the day one. So how does it feel like? And what is the most challenging thing that you face when you start your organization?
Okay, what's the most challenging thing when I started? Is that the question? Okay, so first of all, my organization is still not very big. We are only 6 to 7 people working with a very small budget. And there are a lot of people who say that scale up, right? Grow fast. And for me, it was important, not that I don't want to grow fast to help more organizations, but scale up is not more people and more money, according to me. Scaling up should be the impact and the output, right? So we're trying to, so there was a time when we received a grant and we returned about 40% of it. And I was being told by people, if you return the grant, it will be seen as a weakness of the organization. And I said, no, true to my heart, I don't need that much money. I was able to raise a lot of in-kind resources at that point. In hindsight, maybe I should have asked them to convert some of that to a corpus. So the biggest challenge has always been financial resources, getting other people to see the excitement that is in your mind about your idea, because my idea is a little unconventional. It does not have to work on the ground with people, so it's different. So people are not, I'm not able to, rather, I shouldn't say people are not able to see, I'm not able to make them feel as excited as I am about my mission. So that's one of the challenge. And I also realized that the regulatory or the law, the compliance framework keeps changing. That impacts the organizations I profile, and that also impacts me as an organization. So the very first year we started, 2009 was a year of recession, and most global foundations removed supporting philanthropy from their portfolio. They decided not to support, they thought that was the easiest thing to stop because it is building the ecosystem. You can't stop feeding people or sending children to school or taking care of the elderly or the disabled, but building infrastructure can be put away. And in my country, for other funders, this is now beginning to be a cause, but still not there. So to answer your question, yes, getting other people to be as excited as you are, and joining you in that leap of faith and contributing to your resources is difficult.
Thank you.
So do we have any other questions? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, I do have one question. Actually, it's just about concerning with the first question. I just want to know how to overcome, because actually for me and also in our team, we do have kind of like the biggest problem we face is about the funding. Financially, we face actually we have ideas on our mind, and then we try to put out everything, but based on our project idea, it's kind of complicated. And what I want to know is how to get the trust, based on to get the funding, especially about how to overcome, the previously mentioned point.
Okay. I hope you're able to hear me because my internet connection, I think, is getting weaker. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So in fact, two important points that I didn't make in my earlier remarks is, you have the goal in mind, and we all think that impact assessment comes later. But one of the important things is to set your, how you're going to measure how you're moving on your track, right? And keep some 2-3 key indicators, and make sure that right from the beginning, you are actually tracking or measuring that. And as you go along, you can improve the measurement. But initially measure output, like what the activities you have done and what is the immediate result. Like if education is your goal, or someone said, right, you want youth to have a better life. So have you done the baseline? Have you said what is better life? Is better life more youth are completing college? Is better life more youth are beginning to have a certain livelihood, employment and income? Or more youth are have an emotional well-being, are not taking to drugs and stuff, right? Good health. You try and clarify what is better life. You can keep modifying, changing as you go further, but and give it, so your output would be how many youth you plan to work with, or which villages, which city, or which urban area, which geography, how many people. So those are like your defining some output. And some outcome indicators, like how many of the youth today are not completing college, but they would, but completing college is not the impact. So you want them to have a certain type of life, income, etc. So start defining. So define that in the beginning, and put there that you're doing this for the first time. You start thinking how you will track, how you will measure, what you will share with funders, right? I will also share something called the charting impact. It has 5 questions. I will share a link to that, and maybe y'all can go through, write out that, now, and write it every 6 months or so. It talks about, what is the mission, end purpose you're trying to accomplish. How will you measure? What are the challenges? What are the problems you faced? And so sometimes funders come and tell you, do this, do that, like they have all the solutions. But if you say, I've already tried this, and this is what I learned, right? So these are some of the things that will help you. And compliances. See, you have to work within the laws of your country. If you're in advocacy, that is different. But if not that, meaning in advocacy, you're trying to change maybe the government regulations. But otherwise, if you're doing program implementation, please be aware of the laws. Please keep an eye on the environment, because that impacts your funding. 10 out of 17 Asian economies, yesterday I was in a meeting, there the laws to get foreign funding has become bad. It's become more difficult. How do you get your local community involved? How do you think of domestic philanthropy? So you have to start thinking of, being compliant, what the law requires, not today, but how is it going to impact your funding? So I have been, talking to many friends in the sector saying that compliance is not the job of an external accountant or audit firm. You, as the founder, as the chief, you have to worry about the environment, the legal environment in which you're working, and that is constantly changing, right? So it may not sound like a tip for fundraising, but I think that's the most important one, because you may not even qualify to reach a funder. Okay. I know in the interest of time, I will stop. You can send questions to me on email. You know, I can put my email ID here in the chat, and I whatever I can contribute to you from my learning, I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. We are running out of the time. Maybe we're gonna close it here. If you still have question, you can reach out to the Pushpa, and she already, sent her email here. Thank you so much again, Pushpa, for
Thank
sharing
you,
with
and
us.
have a good rest of the
Yeah,
meeting.
thank you.
So,
You
thank
too. Have a good day. Yeah. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. I hope you have lots of things learning from her, and also the inspiration, and moving moving on your own project, and how you think about how you need to think about sustainability and also the empathy. Also, don't I really love be a hunger. Yeah, I think it's also help me a lot too. When I am developing the projects, whenever I am doing projects yeah. So it is also don't lose our passion as well. So before we move to, I think we're gonna skip for Kahoot, but if we still have time, so we'll play Kahoot, that, because our next speaker will be here in 9:50. So we still have time. I wanted to Mentimeter with you. So with just me, what did you learn from today? So you can think about, we I'm gonna share the screen now. That you can take a little bit time, and also think about your project or your team and how you could benefit from our guest speaker session, also what we are discussing this morning. So and then you can type in, so that if the passcode, I'm gonna present it. Sorry. So you can type 3 times in the Mentimeter. The passcode is 9387676. Okay, you just type Mentimeter token. Is that all right? You could find the Mentimeter.
I was able to get in, Sue. Style.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Carrie. Can I ask you the passcode? Yeah. You can type, the benefit from, and learning point, of course, also the learning point. You can type in the Mentimeter. Wow. Keep going for hundreds. Be disciplined and be perseverant. Keep learning. So lovely. More people will come in. Know your filters. Okay, we're gonna. It's for people in the Mentimeter room. All right. To something interesting, yeah. Empathize. We should empathize.
And if you're not able to share
We
in the
like to get
Mentimeter,
max.
you can share in the chat as well. That's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ideas will come at beautiful college. That's interesting. All right. Let's take one more minute to come in more idea here. More what? All right. Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop sharing here, share my screen here. Thank you so much for sharing your what that we learned from this morning session. So I'm gonna pass to to welcome next speaker, to Aria.
Thank you, Style. Hello, everybody. Just wanted to give a round of applause to Pushpa. Phenomenal presentation. And we're actually going to have another guest speaker that will have amazing words for us as well today. So I wanted to welcome our guest speaker, Mimi Mayowen. So to give you a little bit of background on Mimi. Hello, Mimi. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, everyone. Very nice to meet you all. Thanks for the invitation, and I'm delighted to be here.
Wonderful. So Mimi, I'm just going to say a few things about you, and then I'll give you your time to share your wonderful thoughts. So Mimi is a commercially astute and inspirational leader and program manager with over 20 years of experience who has developed community leadership and development programs across different sectors and a wide range of issues. So this has included education, arts, social development programs, as well as youth and professional networks. So Mimi is also passionate about the role of social enterprise and how it plays in building inclusive and justice-oriented societies. And we are particularly very excited to hear your experiences with your background and your experiences with your time in the program that you're in. So I will give you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Aria. Lovely to see you all here. And I learned from Sue that we got participants from Myanmar and Thailand, and I am very much delighted and to share the experience with the program development and how we develop and sustain program for Myanmar, for my case actually. Yes, for me, yes, as Aria introduced, I am with the British Council since 2000. So that means this year it's going to be my 22nd year. But then working across the different programs, it includes arts, education, and social development program. That social development programs include around active citizen and social enterprise, which I have most passionate about it. For the British Council in Myanmar, we are here for like 70 years, more than 75 years now. Not myself as yet, but then yeah, so we have experienced or seen so many challenges in the country and all these political and social backgrounds. For myself, have experienced, for the past 20 years, it's around, I could divide like two era. The first era around 2000 to 2010, we could probably call as it's like the silent era. So that's where our work mostly focus around on education or English or working with the English teacher to support their development, this type of thing. And then starting from 2010, so there has been some development across the political sector and more open society, more open, and there's a very more space for civil society as well. That's where we are also developed and shaped the British Council program to work with young people and as well as, develop their skills in terms of for those who want to make contribution or change in their community. So this is where that, active citizen or social enterprise programs are coming in. But then here today, I would probably focus on the active citizen programs and how we develop and shape, and based on the the country social and political development, and as well as in the operation context around that, what's going on, what we can do, what we couldn't do that time. So so from 2010, there has been some more open space in the political social movement. Actually, officially the country has changed and gone to the transition in 2011, but we started our work in active citizen like since 2010. That is like the global program. So it is like globally they started in 2009, but then started with the for example, in the program pilot in Pakistan and Bangladesh. And now we started in Myanmar in 2010. So even though Myanmar is an East Asia country, but then, it's a bit different from Thailand. Our situation, there are areas that we are more similar to the South Asia country. So in Thailand, for example, British Council program mainly focus in education, arts, or you got a very good science program as well, like Flame Labs, which we couldn't bring here to Myanmar as yet. So that's the difference, and that's how we started. But then the active citizen, it was originally called as connecting communities, because that's 10 years ago in 2010, when we call it like active citizen, and then we wouldn't be allowed by the government. So we call it as the connecting community. Even for the connecting community, whenever we do activity in Yangon or outskirts of Yangon, then some of the facilitators are chased by the military intelligence, and then they are asking questions for what are we doing, these type of thing. So, and then after 2011, the country more opened up, the transition, and then we started working more and more, but still the activity are still focused on the civil society and community. Basically, the program is around, we are providing training, knowledge, building up knowledge and skill to the community leaders who want to make a difference or change in their community. And it is very much similar to that VIA program. I was looking at your website yesterday, and you were doing amazing programs, and like for 50 years now. So the concept is quite the same. It is like we are providing knowledge and skills to the community leaders so that they will be able to make a change for their communities. So, and then the program can focus on different areas. And if I have time, I can also show you some of the infographics so that you can see what are the areas that we have reached, what are the areas that we have done so far. And then starting from 2013 or 14, so shifting away from the civil society, we have started reaching up to the public university, because mostly in Myanmar, all the university, the education is very centralized. So most all the university are public funded under the Ministry of Education, and most of our students, majorities are going to the public university. So we want that active citizen and the community mindset to the university, because the higher education system in Myanmar is they could be very focused on the curriculum, not necessarily much engaged with the civil society or not much engaged with the industry. So that's another story that we are working with the Ministry of Education for the changes, but that all program all paused now. So we are sort of like going back to the silent era again. And then, so from 2016, 14 to like until 2020, and we've been, so the program has been very, thriving and energetic, so that we try to connect with everyone in the community. So we brought people from some from the government as well, for example, like the General Administration Department, which is very, very much relevant audience for our context, and some and academics, university teachers, and university students, and civil society leaders. So it was like in 10 years anniversary, Scenes could be like a very much different scene from what we started 10 years ago in 2010. Like we can only engage with the civil society, and now we engage with everyone from the public sector, private sector, and the civil society, and we all mix up together and driving towards the change. But you all know, everything has the timing, everything has the limitation. Even for Active Citizen, I think it is like one of the longest program from the British Council. It took about 10 years, which is really, really long. For our program, we mainly have about 4 or 5 years. That's the duration of most of our program. So, but then I can probably go back to sustainability later when we get most of the more idea around the Active Citizen. So for what we do in the Active Citizen program is like everyone has to go through the Active Citizen learning journey. So they would join to the workshops. That's where they would learn around, to understand themselves, to understand other, and how they create dialogues, understanding each other. So because there are areas that you don't notice yourself, but then other people know. Then after all this dialogue and system thinking, they identify stakeholders, etc. And they would identify partners, and they would prepare for the social action projects for their community, for their areas. So these social enterprise and social action projects could be more in monetary terms or not. It could be either. You can deliver projects, with a budget, or you can deliver project without budget as well, as long as you got the right network, you got the right resource. So that's what you can do, in the future. So even though the program itself ends from 2010 to 2020, we are still having the Active Citizen across Myanmar. And then they are still up and running. They have on their initiative, like Suk here. I think she is also one of the voluntary, the fellows here. But then she's also the Active Citizen. So I think you can probably share your work with the British Council in the chat later on. So I think that's the background for the Active Citizen programs. And maybe I also wanted to show you with some of the example from social action projects from Kachin State in Myitkyina. So I hope you will be able to share the video with the team here.
Yes, absolutely. So this is the Creating Better Tomorrows video. Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Give me one moment,
Yes.
I'll get it set up. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Yeah, okay. Hopefully you'll hear the audio.
Active Citizen နဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့တနေ့နဲ့တနေ့ကျမတို့ project လုပ်တဲ့အခါမှာကွဲပြားအောင်ပေါ့နော် data တစ်ခုနဲ့တော့မတူအောင်เนาะလုပ်ကိုင်နေရပေါ့ကျမနာမည်ကခွန်မိုင်ဖြစ်ပါတယ်မြစ်ကျနာ Millennium Center ရဲ့လက်ရှိတာဝန်ခံဖြစ်ပြီးတော့မှမြစ်ကျနာ YMC ရဲ့အမှုဆောင်အသင်းရေးမှူးဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီနေ့ကျတော့ကျမတို့ဒီလိုက်စာပေါ့နော်တရုတ်ပြည်နယ်စဘက်မှာ IDP ကကလေးတွေကိုကျမတို့ Active Citizen နဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့လှုပ်ရှားမှုလေးလုပ်တယ်ပေါ့ဒီ season ကတော့ကျောင်းသားတွေအတွက်တော့ဒါပထမဦးဆုံးသူတို့အတွက်တော့ဒါအတွေ့အကြုံတစ်ခုလို့မြင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဥပမာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကျမတို့အဲ့ဒါမှာလုပ်တဲ့ဒီ solar panel ပေါ့နော်နေအောင်ကြီးနဲ့လုပ်တဲ့ဟာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်စိတ်ကူးလေးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူတို့အတွက်တော်တော်လေးအသုံးဝင်တယ်ဘာကြောင့်လဲဆိုတော့တို့မှာဒီထင်းတို့ဘာတို့မီးသွေးပေါ့နော်လိုမျိုးတွေရှာဖွေရခက်ခဲတဲ့အခါမှာဒါဒီမျိုးလေးကတို့အတွက်သူတို့ရဲ့ဒီလူနေမှုအတွက်ပေါ့နော်အသုံးဝင်ပါလားဆိုတော့သူတို့အတွက် idea တစ်ခုကိုရရတယ်တခုဥပမာပေါ့ကျွန်မမြင်တာတခုဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တို့တွေကပထမအဆုံးနေ့မှာကျွန်တော်တို့ပစ္စည်းတစ်ခုကိုထွင်ခိုင်းတဲ့အခါမှာကလေးလေးဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒါ သူတကယ်ပဲသူ့ရဲ့ခံစားရတဲ့ဟာလေးတွေကိုပြောပြတာပေါ့နော်သူမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်သူကအိမ်တစ်ခုကိုတီထွင်လိုက်တယ်အိမ်ဆိုတာသူတို့အတွက်အရင်အေးကြီးရဲ့ဘာကြောင့်လဲဆိုတော့17နှစ်လုံးသူတို့ကအဲ့မှာပဲမွေးဖွားပြီးတော့ပြေးလွှားခဲ့ရတဲ့ခါကျသူတို့အတွက်ဒီအိမ်နေရာလေးဆိုတာအရင်အေးကြီးရဲ့ဆိုတော့သူတို့ရဲ့စိတ်မှာခံစားချက်တွေခံစားနေရလဲမြင်တယ်သူတို့ဒီ wall painting လုပ်တဲ့ခါမှာမထင်ဘူးပေါ့သူတို့ကစာရွက်တတိလေး A4 လို့စာရွက်ပေါ်မှာပဲဆွဲဘူးတယ်ဆိုတဲ့ဟာရှေ့အဲ့လိုမျိုးဒီနိုင်ရမှာပေါ့နော်မှာသူတို့တွေဆွဲလိုက်တဲ့ခါမှာ creativity ကောင်းတယ်ပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုမျိုးလေးမြင်တယ်အခုအဲ့ဒီမှာသွားခဲ့တဲ့ဖွန်လိုမြန်ဆိုတဲ့ဒီ camp ဆိုတာကက်ကလေးတွေဆိုမြစ်ကျနာတောင်မရောက်ဘူးလေရင်ပြန်လည်းမတွေ့ဘူးဒီရထားလည်းမတွေ့ဘူးပေါ့နော်သူတို့ပြောရဆိုလို့ရှိရင်နောက်ပိုင်းသူတို့ဆရာမတွေနဲ့ပြောပြီးတော့ကျမတို့အနေနဲ့ exchange program ပေါ့နော်မြစ်ကျနာမှာလေ့လာရေးခီးလာလဲတာတို့သူတို့ဆရာမနဲ့အတူပြီးရခါမှာပြန်ပြီးတော့သူတို့ data ကိုရောက်သွားတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ်မျိုးပေါ်မှာဘာတွေလုပ်နေလဲဆိုပြန်ပြီးအသုံးချဖို့ပေါ့နော်ရှေ့ဆက်ပြီးတော့ကျမတို့အဲ့လိုမျိုးအစီအစဉ်လေးချလုပ်ဖို့ရှိရယ်ဒီ active citizen က British Council ရဲ့အထောက်ပံ့ပေါ့နော်နောက်ပိုင်းမှာလည်းဒီထက်ပိုပြီးတော့ကောင်းတဲ့အစီအစဉ်လေးတွေနဲ့ပေါ့နော်ဒီလိုမျိုးကိုယ့်ရဲ့ဒီလိုမျိုးနယ်စပ်လိုမျိုး data တကယ်တမ်းအရန်လိုအပ်တဲ့ data ကလေးတွေအတွက်ပေါ့နော်ပိုပြီးတော့များများလုပ်ပေးနိုင်အခုညီပေးနိုင်တော့ပေါ့နော်ပိုပြီးတော့ကောင်းတယ်ပေါ့နော်ဒါဆိုပြီး
Thank you. So yeah, so this is the sample or example of social action projects, and also Sue can also share your experience, you know, in the chat as well, what you have done with the active citizen programs, or even the program itself finished, you are still carrying on with your activity. So that could be, you know, so we provide, you know, some of the active citizen with the social action grant, which is like, could be very small, from £500 to £5,000. But then not necessarily the case for every social action projects, because there are some social action projects like they are still carrying on. Sometimes they reported and informed us. Sometimes they are just doing it themselves. They didn't even bother to, you know, talk to the British Council, and they are just carrying on. So this is what the active citizen program it's about from the British Council. Maybe I can probably accept the question and answer, and then we can probably come up with some of the tips for the participant here. That you know what are the things that you can take away and suggestion from me. Maybe I can open the floor for the question first.
Hello, everybody. Again, similar to last time, I heard someone unmute. Please feel free to unmute or type in the chat for Mimi.
Yes, yeah. And so maybe you can probably share the infographic on the screen here. So so that they can see what is it involved, what are the area in geographically, etc. Yes. And it is quite small, and I can see it.
Yeah. Okay, let me just download it. Okay, I will be back. All right.
I can deny it here then.
Okay. All right.
maybe to the infographic. This is the brochure. You can share with them later. The previous file, Sue.
All right. All right. Okay. Sorry. Okay, I can try to get it.
You can also type your question here as well. You know how you would like to run. Any questions around project development, program development?
Yeah, maybe I'll share a little bit more about my citizen journey here. People you start to share here. So the one thing that I got from citizen is networking. So for example, even though we want our main goal is we want to work in community project across Myanmar, not the only one area or specific area, but we want to work across Myanmar. So which is me what I want to do, for example, I want to do a project in Pan, which is in the current state. So I can reach out to them, and then they are there to support me to be implement my project. This is the good thing that I got network from the active citizen, because active citizen in the active citizen they're very diverse groups. I could say it because there are doctor and NGO like civil society, and also government sector, and also business across, and it's very diverse. So what about we wanted, for example, a kind of the fundraising. So the first thing that we did during the pandemics, we want to have community, which is me to support a meal and to support rice, to support medicine. So we first we trying to collect money during our group in the active citizen group, and then we then we couldn't reach out to the outside of the active citizen. There are the people that from the economic sectors, they are willing to import financially as well. For example, for the doctor, so they are willing to have to the handouts, or also infographic to give awareness or health hygiene, health education, which is me I got a good networking in the active citizen. Moreover, we also working on as we are diverse group, so we also work on the different and diverse the project as well, which is climate change, and also the environmental, and also education. So those are the things that we work all together. So but they will have a lead as a leader. So which is me we are other citizens are doing giving not only for a training, but also for our implementing our project. Let's plant a tree. Each people need to plant a tree around area. But that's the huge thing that I got from the active citizen. Another one is to be master facilitator. So I got to learn from the active citizen, and I got a chance to learn to a part of the master facilitator program in active citizen. That's the thing. So our journeys, there's a entry now. So if we need anything, we can reach out to the trainer and train. Even though the trainers are from the UK, and then she is always always there for us, to support, to help us. That's the thing that we learned it. It's a kind of sustainability means what I learned it, being connected each other, not only locally, but also then globally also important to be a sustainability, because we can't do alone to be a sustain or to implement the project. So that's the thing that I got from the active citizen. Yes, thank you for giving a chance.
Thank you. So maybe I can probably go through the infographic and the sector. So, you can see, I have also shared that with Sue as well for the, about active citizen journey and the infographic. And maybe you can probably get it a bit zoom in, a bit bigger, Sue. Yeah, that's good. So the area we are working in different for social development themes like environment, health, economics mean like it's not we are changing the economic policy, but then we are these active citizens are doing some of the livelihood programs for in the community. So that's what we are of vocational training, peace, because Myanmar is like long-standing civil war and there's a lot of peace and conflict issue. So there are some the advocacy and consultancy or training around that piece as well. And gender is very important. So they are also tackling some gender issue and library, because British Council started with library 70 years ago. So library is still a very key from our offer and main development. And democratic transition, that is around, we would probably, active citizen would probably do, working on the election campaign or some consultation process, public hearing session, these type of thing. That's what they will be doing. So there are some approaches that we use down there. We use training, we use workshops, advocacy, public awareness, and there are some research content as well and consultation. So that would probably lead to the change value of the people on the right side down there. Therefore, we are working on the inclusion, just democratic society that you can observe on later. So I have also shared some of the videos, to know about more about the Active Citizen program, because otherwise, if we are showing too much here, and that's with the just an interest of time, and we are, we are just trying to summarize everything. So the key point for, the sustainability is, for the program development or whatever the program development itself, for me, from my point of view, everything has the limitation, and everything has time frame. For the British Council as well, we do programs, I mean, mostly around from 3 to 5 years programs, or until like 10 years program like Active Citizen, which could be, I think, one of the longest program for our history. So but what we do in mind, and what I was thinking in mind for the first thing before we develop program, is around sustainability and how are we leaving the legacy for us or for our work here in Myanmar. The main thing for me is it's all about the Myanmar people, or, because the local people will be able to sustain the projects or activity or the knowledge. So what we can do is to facilitate or knowledge, between sharing knowledge. It is not like, it is always like one side of the thing, and which I also saw from the website from VIA as well, to share understanding, to share knowledge, to share, to understand each other culture. So these type of things. So we transfer knowledge from UK to Myanmar and Myanmar to UK. This can go both ways. And what we make it for sure is like, whatever we transfer knowledge from the UK or transfer program here in Active Citizen projects also, we still have to make sure that we have enough human resource to be able to maintain. So what we find is we would look for the motivated individuals who really wanted to make a difference to their community. That's the key for this program. So, and then we would probably look at, some of the key stakeholder who will be able to support you or your program. That's where for the program, the Active Citizen case, it could be the local civil society organization, or it could be the university who will be able to, because not all the programs or project activity, you don't need to spend money. Or you have to spend, it's like your time, your creativity, your effort, your knowledge. That's where, all these, for example, the things that Sue mentioned about tree planting facility, and it doesn't cost very much. It's just like they just come together and they create these things, and they implement and deliver it. So this is one way we could do, and we could consider to find the right audience, to find the right motivated individuals, and to think of your activity. So my advice for you is, maybe you can, when you, I would probably advise 4 points. And the thing is around to start thinking biggest ideas, and you can think big. Even though, you know, everyone's always suggests that, you know, you start small. Even though you start small, you can always have a bigger ideas in mind. You can have, like, there is no wrong with, like, you want to change the world, you want to change your country, or you want to change your society. It's all good come together. But then depending on your resource and depending on your situation currently, or depending on your network or contact, you can choose what you can start doing. So this is one point that I would like to suggest. And another thing is, the second point would be get comfortable with uncomfortable. So you got to be comfortable with is not uncomfortable, which is not comfortable to you. You know, for example, it may not probably be the issue for this for your age or your you know, your time, or this time of let's with all these millennia. But then in our times, like 10 or 15 years ago, we were so shy to speak up. I was so shy to do the public speaking. So, and then, like, so at the end, with my experience, okay, we roll up, we are hardworking, and we roll our sleeves, and we do the program from the scratch to until it's all appear. So when it comes to presentation, so what are you going to do? Will you do it yourself or take your own credit, or you will let other people to speak up on behalf of you? Then that's where I have to be, you know, try myself to be more used to with uncomfortable. So to speak up and to be able to speak out among the people. So that's where you live, you thrive, and then you can continuously grow and learn. So that's what I would like to suggest. And the tips 3 could be focus. And you know, you have picked your idea, and you know your strengths, you know your weakness, you know your your interest area. So you got to be focused on what you want to make a change. But that's the same for active citizen, or that would be the same for social entrepreneurship as well. Whether you like to, you find a problems, and then you need to pick the area where you will be able to contribute. That's where you will be able to make the maximum benefit and maximum impact for your work. For example, like the incident in February, I was thinking just like other, whether I should go to the border area and do something. But then I was able to position myself that I wasn't good at that, and I would be, you know, for example, with my physical strength or with my situation at home, etc., I may not be able to contribute best in the border area and going in the jungle also. So I would probably decided to stay here, and I would advocate for others who will be able to influence, you know, yourself. Like yourself, or as well as some other, currently my work a lot involved in the education sector. So, you know, develop in some of the, you know, how we respond to this current situation to continue offer to education to Myanmar students. So that you know, stay focused, know yourself, know your strengths, and know your, you know, how to call it, like, what can you make a difference in a maximize impact? That's the thing. And the 4 tips could be around be authentic. So you got to be honest with what you really are. Are you a civil society person, or are you really, you know, I would like someone wants to walk and go in the private sector, and then even though it is not good or bad that you earn money, and then you can also contribute back to the community. It is whatever you do, it is all or your decision or your choice, and whatever relevant to you. And so you got to be transparent. And the thing is, you will have to put passion in everything you do. So that's where you have to look for where your passion is, where your passionate areas, and then you can start shake things up. But don't go to the traditional way. You can shake things up. That's all from me. And then if you still have any questions or comments, just the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mimi. you want to give Mimi a round of applause? Thank you. This was fantastic. If anyone does have any questions, please feel free to either unmute or type in the chat. If not, Mimi will be able to be reached via email or another contact information piece, and we will gladly give that to all of you. So thank you.
You're most welcome, and thank you for organizing as well, VIA team and Sue and all the participants. I hope you got something from this session, and then I also leave my email address in the chat. So please feel free to contact me, and then you just introduce yourself that you are selected from this program, and you can also contact and reach out to Active Citizen Network through Sue as well. Thank you very much. Have a good day and good night for those in the US.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye bye.
Day.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Fantastic, everybody. So I think what we're going to do now, the order was a little mixed around, but we're curious for any of you, would you also be interested in that 10-minute break? Then we can jump into our other, okay, I'm seeing head nods. I'm seeing head nods. Okay. I think that's what we'll do. If that's okay with the fellows on the call too, and Yuki, we're gonna go in a 10-minute break, and then we're gonna be right back with the rest of the meeting. So yeah, be back in 10 minutes. All right, we're still waiting for people to come on back. Yuki, would you want to share the screen and get us to the section about fellows advice? Yeah, that'd be good. There's Carrie. Okay, Gary will be guiding us through this section coming up.
Hello, everyone. So we just wanted to take a little bit of time to check in with the fellows, and they can just give you some either words of encouragement or just some advice as we're moving kind of into this next stage of the accelerator, which we're all very excited for, and we've had so much fun with you and learned so much already. So we're looking forward to this next chapter as well. So I can start, and for the advice and hope I have for you is just, for one, is just to enjoy this time, embrace whatever you're feeling, whether that's excitement or nervousness. We're all feeling different emotions, and that's beautiful. And also that if you need help, like we might have our individual teams, but please feel free to reach out to any of the fellows and also anyone on this call, because you all have such a rich knowledge of information and experience that really contribute to this group. Okay, so that is my advice / wish for you. I'm going to popcorn it to Aria next.
Thank you, Carrie. I think my advice I would give to all of you, you're all so fantastic, and I see great things happening in all of your futures, is to be kind to yourself. And I don't mean in just those amazing positive moments in life where things go our way and everything's so exciting, but also in those times where things don't always go our way and the outcome is not what we expected. Be kind to yourself. Be happy with the fact that you've made it this far, and be happy with the fact that you did something that was challenging and you learned from it and you grew from it, and be happy with the fact that the process did not let you down because you still learned something from it regardless of that outcome. So be proud, be happy, and take care of yourself, and drink water. Don't forget to drink as much water as you need to. It gets pretty hot. Okay, I'm going to pass this on to Laura.
Thanks, Aria. One of my first impressions of this group is that there's a lot of community and there's a lot of love here. And so my biggest advice to you is to continue to build that community, both within the space and outside of the space. You guys bring incredible perspectives from all different parts of your disciplines. And I think it would be really amazing to see what sort of connections you guys are able to make. And also, like, your cohort, like you are able to continue to be a cohort like even after the program is over. So continue to maintain those connections, those friendships, and I think something beautiful might come out of it. Popcorn. I have popcorn Mason. And Mason looks a little frozen. Okay, we're gonna popcorn a tune.
Yeah, I'm not the last person here. Okay, so there's one quote that I like most, and I always keep that in my mind. It's called learn, unlearn, and relearn. So what does that mean is that you're gonna learn many new things along the way. So keep learning that, and sometimes you need to unlearn what you have learned so far and be open for a new challenge. And lastly, you need to relearn what you have learned before. And in that way, you're gonna make the most of this journey. So good luck, and we are here for you always. Yeah, and that's gonna be my quote, and I'm gonna popcorn back to Mason if she's here. If not, I'm gonna popcorn back to Yuki.
Okay, thank you, June. So for me, I would like to suggest that that is also my struggle, and that is don't limit yourself. We all have potential and also do what you believe. So I also struggle a lot that I limit myself a lot. You cannot do that. I told myself that you cannot do that. And that is a big barrier for me. So I would like to suggest that don't limit yourself and do whatever you believe, and you can do mistake and you can learn from it. And life is a long way, so whatever it happened, there is every chance we can do next time. So I will pass it to Sky if she's here. We have Hannah, so I will pass it to Hannah.
Hi, Mason. Are we just giving good wishes at the end of 8 calls? Okay, great. Well, congratulations, everybody, to making it through all these calls 8 weeks in a row. It's truly impressive. I came in right while Laura was talking, and I think I really agree with what she said. I think the connections that you're going to make in this group and that you've already made with each other will be really transformative. And if I'm giving advice, I feel like I would say just don't be afraid to lean on each other in your team and outside of your team, and really trust your instincts, because you guys know best and you know what you're working on, and that's why you're here. And you're all really talented, knowledgeable, capable people. And we're just really excited to see you flourish. So congrats. Good luck. Nice job, everybody. Pass it back to you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
And then we're just popcorning around. And then Style, do you have any advice to share with the group or well wishes?
I think, sorry, like my connection is too bad. And just recently, I have been learning through all of your project, and it was so amazing. And also I really wish you could implement your project successfully for our country. So it's really necessary and it's needed. Our country is very needed. Yeah, for those kind of project. And I really love and fall in love with your ideas. Another one is I could feel you are good moving through going forward and in order to developing your project. That was amazing to see. I'm also one of the fellow participant in this program. So when I was I think you all are more than ahead with me when I realized it, because I couldn't even realize our project structure after learning about 6 to 7 calls. So which is me you all are very great and also smart. And another one is I'm really like, looking forward, to see and also the support, as much as I can, for all your projects. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Style. And then Yuki, would you like to close us off with some either encouragement or advice?
Oh, I get to give advice? Sure. I think like the thing that I was really impressed by today from Pushpa's presentation was like the sticking with things for 1,000 days. I was like, ooh, that's a long time. Like 3 years is a long time, and like a lot of things can go wrong. But I think having that, I think framework is like, it really surprised me, and it also like really motivated me. Like even if things go wrong, even if you have to change the direction that you're going, just keep trying, like keep, trying to make some kind of impact in your community, and you'll find some way forward. So yeah, I'll just say that. And things got a little bit turned around in our schedule today, but Aria, do you want me to talk about next steps first? Or did you want to do the announcement?
Let's do the announcement and then next steps. And
Okay.
then we'll do our cool thing. I can
Okay.
share my screen. So I got everything loaded up here. I think people can see this. Brilliant. Okay, so this will be a speed run of that because the next steps are also very important. But we have this huge announcement for all of you. So you've heard from all of our fellows, you've heard all the amazing words they had for you and still continue to have. It's not in the past. And we're going to now let you all know that we have been thinking about this for the last few weeks, and we have paired fellows with teams. So woo, very excited. We're going to let you all know team by team who your main fellow is. So let's get into it. First up, we got GZU. Who's your fellow? And I want all of you to either like type in the chat as we're going through this. I probably will not see it in time, but still have fun with guessing who you think your fellow is. So who do you think your fellow is, GZU? Well, we got your fellow is Mazen. Woo! Hopefully you didn't see the other people as that kind of hovered over. Mazen, GZU, a match made in the eternities. So very excited. Wonderful team pairing. Next up, Mind Project. Who is your fellow? Think in the chat, decide, think about who it is. So Mind Project, your fellow is Tune. Woo! Congratulations, a great team, a great pairing, gonna do great things. So fantastic. We're gonna get into our third group, one of us. Who's your fellow? Think about it, have it in your mind, keep it in there because you're about to see. Okay, your fellow is, woo, Laura. So exciting. Great teams, great fellows, teaming up to do the dream work. Okay, next one. Our last but not least team, we have two more teams. Sun CR. So who's your fellow? Think about it, have it in your mind. Is it in your mind? It's in your mind. Your fellow is, woo, Style. Exciting. Yes, a connection that will last a lifetime. Fantastic. So our last but not least team for real this time is We Are One. So think about it. Who is your fellow? Have it in your mind, keep it, lock it, throw away the key. Okay, your fellow is me. Hey, I'm around, I'm here. So this is gonna be very exciting. Congratulations, all of our teams. Woo, we're gonna do a little confetti in the chat. So before we head off to what Yuki is gonna share for next steps, we have one more big important piece of this. So you have your main fellow, which you've all met, but you also have a second person in your team. So this co-fellow will be in your team, helping you out, doing things for you, and we're gonna show you that breakdown really quickly. So for this, GZU, Mazen is your main person, and then you'll have Carrie helping out. So very exciting, a great connection there. Mind Project, we have Tune and Carrie helping out again. So Carrie will have both awesome knowledge from GZU and Mind Project. Then One of us, I will be helping out with Laura. So that's going to be very exciting. I'm interested in the collaboration there. Next up, Sun CR, Style and Hannah, that's not Tune, will be helping out together. So that's going to be very exciting. Followed by We Are One with Mazen helping me out with this team. And as was mentioned by a few of our fellows, we are all here for you. We're all rooting for you. So if you need anyone, feel free to reach out to any of us, but the people that you see here will be your point of contact for the next few weeks. So yeah, I will pass it on to Yuki.
Okay, I will go super fast just so that you have a lot of time to hang with your team. Can everybody see my screen? Yep. Okay. So one of the big announcements is that we've made it past the intensive portion of the call. So our next all cohort call is not next week. So next Saturday, you get to sleep in, you get to have your coffee, you get to take it easy. Okay. Our next all cohort call is going to be next month on May 21st. Okay. So try not to miss us too much. And we're giving you a little extra time because the assignments for this next coming month are all focused on need finding. So we really want you to go get out into the community, do some need finding, talk to people, and report back to us about what you're finding out in the community. Okay. Any questions about that? Any quick questions coming up for you? Okay. So I'm going to do just a super fast launch over what we have going on. So the first assignment is a team assignment, and it's all about understanding what is need finding. What are all of the different ways that you can conduct need finding? You can do interviews, you can do surveys, you can silently watch people from behind a table. You know, there are a lot of ways that you can understand what's going on in a community. And all of you and your teams, you have a lot of different strengths, right? So how do you want to use all of the different strengths on your team to pursue need finding? So this first step is really about, okay, what is our plan for understanding our community? All the different stakeholders we had, you know, how do we want to approach them? Do we want to approach them as a team, or do we want to approach them individually with a survey? You know, you can decide. The second assignment is to actually go out into the community and do interviews. Because of COVID, these might be Zoom interviews, and that's totally okay. And I also want to stress that empathy interviews are just one way that you can do need finding. There's so many ways, but this is one skill that we think is really, really useful for understanding your community. So we definitely encourage you to do this. Some, like in the past, usually assignments are individual or team, but this time we're saying you can do them either way, right? Because in the past, some teams said each person has to do their own interview, or other teams said, you know what, no, we want to team up and two people do an interview, or a whole team does an interview together, right? Try to get as many of these interviews as you can, but you can do them as an individual or as a team. So this one's a little bit special. The next assignment is to go back to the stakeholder map that you had all the way back in week 3 and try to make some revisions to it. Okay, so you can use the feedback that you got on the Launchpad. You can talk to your fellows and get some feedback from them and submit an updated stakeholder map. And of course, schedule a meeting with your fellows. So since we won't see everyone until next month, find some time to meet with your fellows. And here are some questions that you can think about. And of course, as always, have a monthly reflection. So with that, I'm going to, I think, open it up to the room. Style, Aria, is that right? Okay, awesome.
You got it.
So we're going to send you this time, instead of having the normal workshop time, we're going to send you into rooms with your teams and your fellows. And this will be some time for you to start answering some of those questions. So how you want to engage with each other, how often you want to meet, maybe set a date for when you're going to see each other next. Okay, any questions before I open the rooms? Feel good? Okay, I'm going to open them up. Today was a case study in flexibility.
when the schedule doesn't go right, the technology doesn't cooperate. But you know what? This is the mark of a really good team because we were really flexible. We flowed like water, and we made it work. So just very quickly, I know we only have about 1 minute, but if anybody wants to share, how was their meeting with their fellow, if there was anything fun or exciting or strange that came out.
Well, I think I can share on that. So in our team, my project, we have 2 fellow, which is June and Carrie. So we glad to have both of them since I think we are maybe sharing the same characteristic, and also the topic that we're trying to do might be interested all of us. So I think would be beneficial. So in that case, we can ask them for the feedback or maybe thoughts or comments, or can write in our perspective about how should we come up with a business model or the product that we really want to create an impact. Yep, something like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think Toon brings the business acumen. Carrie brings the mental health piece. So you're in good hands. Yeah. How about other folks? Anybody have anything they want to share?
Our team got Laura and Area, and yeah, it's nice. And I want to say sorry to everyone because my connection is not good today. So that's why I have been inactive lately. So yeah, but it's really nice to see you guys. I also take a break last week, so I was missing you. And it's said that we are going to meet at next month. So yeah, see you guys anyway.
Yes. Yeah, I'm definitely going to miss you too. Definitely feel free to I feel like I'm the only one who talks on the Signal, but feel free to share updates, send me pictures of your cat. I'll send pictures of my cat. Okay, because I miss you guys too much. Last week, you were all gone for the holidays and I cried. It was horrible. Yeah, thank you. And Anjali, no worries at all. We totally understand. We're all facing internet issues. Anybody else? Maybe one more person. Anybody want to share?
I think that Aria and my team member left because of internet connection or something, and me and Aria are the only one in the room, and we just made Facebook friends and added in the new group chat in Messenger because we don't use Signal that much, so we added in Messenger group, and we talk about our project and something about United States or something. Yeah.
Yes, that is awesome. Feel free to take your meetings and go totally in a weird tangent. In the past, I've heard that fellows, started had an idea to start a restaurant together in Thailand. I'm like, that seems like a fun team. Carrie was part of it too. So feel free to use these meetings to develop your friendship, right? And it's not just about, getting feedback on deliverables. These people are just wonderful people to be friends with. They can share their network with you. People who are working with style, she literally knows everyone, literally everyone in Asia knows style. So, feel free to lean on each other's networks. And just because you have 2 dedicated fellows doesn't mean you can't reach out to each other, reach out to other fellows and reach out to me, because I'll be very lonely because I don't have a team. Okay. All right. So with that, if there aren't any other final comments, we will see you all on May 21st. Okay, we'll see you soon. Don't cry. Don't cry, Echo.
We miss you.
Have a great weekend.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.